didn't I want to welcome you to the Healing Place Facebook live chat. And I hope you had a chance to be with us last week when we talked about how we condition ourselves to ignore pain. This week's subject, we're going to talk about how to move trapped pain through energy medicine. For those people who missed it last week, let me give you a little bit scenario who I am. I've been practicing professional reflexology since 2006, professional energy medicine since 2009, and I have an office called the Healing Place located in Medfield, Massachusetts. And in the past 10 years, I have learned so much through this work. So how I got into this background, into this work, and I used to mention for those people who missed it, unfortunately I had a family situation where my son was sick, and unfortunately the only alternative that I had back then was only traditional medicine. And traditional medicine has its place, but unfortunately it's not an answer to every single scenario. So for those people who was with me last week, did you notice, how did you feel when you were listening to this live chat? Did you notice any pain coming up? Did you feel like something was resonating and starting to bother you? And if you did, you know what? That's a great feeling. That tells me your energy, especially the toxin energy, is trying to find its way out of your body. So let me tell you a little bit what is what is trapped energy? Well, most of the time, it all depends on how we process pain. Some of us process it physically, some emotionally, and some of us spiritually. And the spiritual component is through our soul. So where does it land? Have you noticed where your pain lives? I would say most of the clients who come to see me have digestive issues, respiratory issues, and also, I would say hormonal issues. So they live in their second chakras. And then what happens is, and yes, we could have a genetic disposition where we have inherited our DNA from our family. And again, a lot of it has to do with how we feel emotionally. I want to give this great story. Hi, Robin. Thanks for joining me. I want to give this story about how I started to understand my pains from my own personal experience. One of the things I noticed when my last job, I worked as an office manager for a small nonprofit organization in Wellesley, Massachusetts. It was one of those jobs, as soon as I went for the interview, I noticed, oh my gosh, this place is the energy was so dense, kind of chaotic, and even toxic. And yes, I felt this during my interview. And I'm going on, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this feels like a job I had 20 years ago, and all I'm doing is revisiting. So what was happening is I slotted the job for 2 years, and I ended up there for 6.5. And during this time, I was trying really hard to hold my energy so I wouldn't absorb all this negativity. And then what was happening was I ended up getting sick to the point where I was so sick, I came down with flus, bronchitis, what else? I had colds. So my disconnect was emotionally in my heart. So I knew, hi Jenny, I knew for a fact that the energy that I was absorbing was in my heart chakra. So in fact, one of the things I used to say about my place, even though it's funny but not so funny, is that we would fight about everything. The company I worked for was primarily women, so we argue about everything. In fact, if the agenda item of what color toilet paper should ever come up on the agenda, we would fight about what color we should buy. So nothing ever got resolved, and everyone walked away feeling really poorly. So over the years, I started, again, my body started to become so disconnected. I became very, very ill, to the point where they would name flus after me. And know what I know today, I finally realized not only was I physically disconnected, but also emotionally, and also my soul was very, very quiet and did not know what to do. So that's one of the things that I could give as an example. So what happens to us when our pain becomes trapped? Well, first of all, I would say our aura, our energy field that's known as an aura, develops holes. These holes, unfortunately, leaks out all of our energy. We can't maintain our energy where it's consistent, so it wobbles back and forth. So a lot of times we're trying to figure out emotionally, where are we? And what happened was we end up being physically, emotionally, and also spiritually drained. And a lot of times too, the way we deal with pain, it all depends on the way we were raised. I would say, I was reading Carolyn Mace. She's one of those books that I read during energy medicine school. We follow a lot of her practices and also her methods of healing. She would say we have so many archetype personalities. Archetypes, people say, what is that? We have every single personality that we see in everyone, the good, the bad, and the indifference. That all lives in us. We have what I call default personalities. We have default personalities, whereas the ones that stands out the most is what I call main personalities. So out of 70 archetypes, we have 12 that we primarily use every single day. I would love to go and start talking about that, but unfortunately it's not enough time. In fact, I'm hoping to bring this up once I develop my Facebook close group, which is called, the group is going to be called Your Energy, How to Keep It Happy, Healthy, and Flowing. I hope to establish this group sometime in October. And so we come back to having 12, I would say, personality. Out of the 12 personality, we have what I call 4 survivor energy. So depending on, and each of those 4 surviving energy will dictate how you're going to deal with pressure, your pain, and how you process your emotions. So let me go over some of this. And all of this, again, this is awareness that you need to develop to help you to understand your energy and also to protect your aura, which I will go into it just a little bit later. So the 4 primary energy archetypes are, I would say, the prostitute. We have a prostitute. Every one of us has a prostitute. And people think prostitute is a sexual thing, but it's not. It's what are you willing to give up to get what you want. So think about situations when you're in and you're trying to figure out how you're going to get that. We have what I call a victim energy, and we're all victims at some time, especially when we lose out and we want to win. Unfortunately, we all want to win in everything we want to do. And thirdly is our child. People go, child? Yeah, a lot of your child personality has been developed when you were a little kid by your family and your community. How did they treat you? Did you feel perhaps you're angry? Were you heard? Were you seen? Were you abandoned? All of those energy traits will teach you how you handle your pain. And lastly, if I could find on my list, is the sabotager. Everybody sabotages themselves. There are things that we know we're supposed to do, but somehow in the back of our head, unconsciously, we may not want to do what we are feeling. So we find ways of either postponing or delaying. So how, again, by masking the pain, we mask our pains every place we go, especially, I would say, in a work environment, or I could call, or with your in-laws, or anybody that you feel uncomfortable. And just notice how your energy shifts when you're in an event that you are feeling you don't want to go to. And also, this feeling, you could feel it boiling inside of you, and you might end up feeling really angry. So what happens is, with this energy, I gotta get some water. So with this energy, not only is it boiling inside of you, but it's also radiating out of your body into your aura. And your aura is your personal energy field, where it's like a bubble. We have this bubble all around us. We read people's energy all the time. I always give an example. People say, well, I don't read people's energy. Yes, you do. Think about it. If you're at home and you have a family member come home from a day's event, without that person saying something, I'm quite sure you could feel when that person is angry, they're mad, and even though they didn't say a word, you're feeling their energy. So one of the things that we could do to protect ourselves is we can witness what is going on with them. We don't have to absorb their energy. Believe it or not, even if they're our children, we don't have to absorb their energy. We could sit and listen to what their needs are and what is going on, and hopefully help to guide them. So when coming back to, I hope I'm not repeating with myself, what happens to us when pain becomes trapped? Unfortunately, this leaves holes in our aura and our energy field, and we actually, instead of recycling our energy in us, we leak it out. So those days when you're feeling exceptionally tired and drained, more times than not, your energy is depleted, especially if you are meeting with friends or been with friends who are constantly venting. They're talking at you, but they're not talking with you. You might feel exceptionally tired at the end of your evening, and you're drained, and your friend is going, oh my gosh, I feel so good. And another thing too about trapped pain, there is a thought in family. Everybody has a history of illnesses. I don't care who you are. Everybody has defective DNA. We have genetic disposition that gets passed down from generation to generation. And one of the things that I notice people do, especially if there is an illness that runs in a family, it's like we're waiting to get sick. We believe we are going to get sick because it runs in the family. I mean, in my family, I have a couple more minutes left because everybody wants to go off and watch TV. In my family, we have diabetes and thyroid condition. Out of my two brothers and two sisters, I'm the oldest of five. 2/3 to 3/4 of us have one of both conditions. I have been very blessed. I do not have diabetes, but I have to be very careful with my numbers. And my brother one time said to me, he says, Helen, it's going to be your turn to become a diabetic. And I said to him, looked at him and said, no, I don't think so. I don't believe that. And he says, why not? And I said, well, because of the work that I do, I know what is running in my body. I know where my energy is deficient and excessive. So I have learned how to modulate my energy so where it's not deficient or excessive. I try to somewhere be in the middle. Most people have absolutely no idea what this concept is really, I have a way of modulating my energy. Yes, you do. You really do. It's just a matter of awareness, living a mindful life, and learning how to connect to your body. So I want to talk more, but we're at the very end of our talk. And I just want to let you know that, I'm going to start this Facebook closed group that will talk about energy and every aspect of any questions you might have about energy and how to keep it healthy, happy, and also flowing. And in the meantime, to help you to understand your chakra and your energy, I am offering a chakra balance and meditation tape. And if you privately email me with your email address, I will send that off to you as my gift to help you to recognize your chakras and where your imbalances are. And next week, I want to talk more, but there's just too much to talk about, and I just don't want to go on. And especially everyone, I could feel the energy. They're on the edge, want to go off and do something. So next week, I want to talk to you about how to quiet the pain by uniting the body, the mind, and the spirit. I love this topic because with all three of that energetic bodies in us, what happens a lot of times is we don't recognize the power, way of healing, but we need to heal on all three levels. You need to unite the body, the soul, and the mind. And the following week on Columbus Day, how to acknowledge the pain and make friends with it. Because it is a lesson that we all can learn from our pain if we're willing to listen to the story. I want you to walk away feeling that you can do something about your pain. You don't have to be a victim to it. You don't have to succumb to it. You could actually energetic move it, but you just need to believe that it could be done. And I want to be able to help you with this because I'm a true believer in this, and I've seen the miracles of energy healing over and over for the last 10 years of my life. So please join me next Monday, and we're going to unite all your body system, plus your spirit, your body, and your soul. Thank you, and have a good night. Bye-bye.